We now go to Musu. If you can share anything about the implications of, girls not being educated and also this myth persisting in society. What do you think about the implication of, because of all these myths are happening in society, then girls will actually believe that, yeah, education is not for us. How do we cope? It seems like education is too difficult for girls. What do you think around those implications? Yeah.
If there is anything that I know is that even though there are all these stereotypes that exist about girls, being nurturing or be a nurse because, we have good hearts, those are not really compliments for me personally. I feel like that is basically a way of limiting girls and putting us in a box.
Yeah.
And I feel that we have an opportunity to unbox ourselves from all these stereotypes that exist. But one thing I know for sure is that when we do not give the girls to have access to quality education, we are going to ensure that they do not live a meaningful life. We're going to ensure that poverty continues. We're going to ensure that girls would keep living a life of dependency. Like the two factors, I am the first in my immediate family to complete high school and go to university. It would be but a dream for majority of them. My mother was a vegetable gardener and my father a painter. And I feel that with everything that education has done for me, I have taken it upon myself to ensure that all of my siblings access education at the highest levels. Now I have a sister who is a registered nurse, but also I encourage her to do her BSc, which is her bachelor's in nursing rather at the American University, and she is pursuing that. She actually submitted her dissertation, and she would graduate next year, early next year. My brother also is studying to be a registered nurse. My other younger sister is enrolled at the university studying marketing. So for me, education is important, and we have been able to break the cycle of poverty within my immediate family. My parents didn't have the means, but today I am able to take care of my family with the support of my siblings as well. All of that is possible with education, because without education, I don't see any way out. I do not see any way out. Education is what would end the cycle of poverty. Education would empower women to have a voice, to know that they have a stance in society and what they are saying is relevant. Oftentimes, when women who are uneducated speak, they will be like, oh, this person is uneducated. They don't know what they're talking about. When you have that education, you have knowledge, you have substantive knowledge. You're able to speak to issues on the merits. You're able to advance an argument. No one will continue to speak for you because you have found your voice and you have the requisite knowledge to be able to speak on your own behalf and properly articulate the issues that affect you. When we do not have access to education, we allow other people to speak on our behalf. And this is problematic. We need to end that. Education has that power to change those narratives. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your status quo is. When you have education, you have everything. Money can't buy it for sure. But dedication, determination, hard work, perseverance, and tenacity. These are the things that ensure that you have access to education. Discipline is important. For me, people ask me, oh, how do you do it? I'm sure it was so hard. I recently, after 7 years of doing my LLB, I decided to enroll at the Gambia Law School in order to be a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of the Gambia. I was doing this simultaneously with a full-time job at the TRRC, which was hectic. And of course, all the classes had shifted online. So the kids, I had to help them out. My husband was away doing his own master's degree. And I had to balance all of these things. And how I passed that law school, I still can't tell you. But for me, it's because I was determined to achieve it. It was hard, but I knew that at the end of the day, it would be beneficial to me, to my community, and the girls on whose behalf I seek to speak on. So as a result of that, I encourage all girls, I encourage all women, and to just tell them that it is never too late. You
Yes.
can achieve your dreams. You can get access to education, and you don't need to compromise on it. Just take a stance and be ready and be prepared, and you are willing to work hard and juggle everything. It's hard, but we can do it. Only then would we be able to change those negative narratives.
Thank you so much. I mean, when you speak, the passion just, comes out, it exudes. Can we just bottle that passion, please, and just pass it around and sell it? I would want to buy some. That passion, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So it seems like all the ladies here in this panel has broken barriers, and will continue to break barriers, because from everything stops with the former generation, your generation is just pushing on and inspiring others to know that education, girls, empowering women has so many benefits, and we should look at the benefits and not look at any disadvantages. So now that we've discussed so much, we would like to end on a high. We would like to end on a way that would inspire others to take on this conversation. Let's talk about the facts. I know we have talked about the facts of girls' education, so let's just delve in further and just highlight the facts about girls' education, the benefits, the advantages, and what it is that there is society to gain. We've broken the myths, we've talked about it, now we're just ending on the facts. What facts about girls' education would you like to leave the viewers with?
So when we've talked a lot about already about the facts, as you said, but when one of the aspects that I want to bring on is early marriage. I think Musu has touched on it a little bit. That when you educate a girl, when you don't educate a girl, you're encouraging or you're increasing the rate of early marriage. So and we know that early marriage has significant health implications for girls. When a girl is married at an early age, they're more likely to suffer from PTSD and depression, among other negative implications. So for me, every child should be given the opportunity to complete her quality education. At least they should be able to finish primary, secondary, or high school, as we call it in the Gambia, and then they would make that choice to go further, basically to strengthen it. So when we talk about all the implications and the causes, I think just to summarize it, to wrap it up, when we educate a girl, we are educating her family. We are educating, and that family involves the husband, the extended family, and then the community and the nation as a whole. Fatou Baldeh has said it here clearly, that we cannot talk about serious development without educating girls. We cannot talk about gender equality without educating girls. So it all starts from, when we were small, when we were very small. And our perception also, I think, Annetta, plays a role. And that's what we've been talking about. We should be open-minded about girls' education. When we are educating girls, a lot of times parents would consider opportunity cost. So you have a boy, you have a girl, what would benefit me? You're thinking of school fees and all of that, then you rather give it to a boy than a girl. We should be open-minded, because we were all created equal. Once we have that level playing field, let's allow just girls to show us what they can do. I think for me, that's how I want to end it. If they allow us to show what we can do, we will definitely achieve something. Yeah,
thank you so much, Fatou, for that. And we have Ami on the line. She would like to chip in a bit and just talk. I think it's Ami Bella. Yeah, just go on, Ami. Yes, we can hear you now. Go on.
Thank you very much, Annetta, and your panelists. I just want to say thank you so much for bringing this very important conversation, which is really, really needed in our society. And, just to say that girls' education is everything, because when a woman is educated, the entire nation will be educated. And because women are mothers of our society. So I think it's very, very important that we continue to empower our young girls to be who they want to be in the future.
Yes.
Listening to your conversations today sort of gave me that moment of reflection of my experience when I was very young. At the age of 15, I was forced into marriage, and it was really, really difficult. I mean, Fatou Badjie knows that story because me, myself, and Fatou Badjie, we were in the same school when this happened to me. And up to now, I don't feel comfortable talking about it, but, just to shed light on the conversation that you guys are having and relating it to my experience, it's like, when I was 15, I was given a husband without my consent, and that goes back to, the culture and probably the religion. Even religion doesn't allow a child to be forced into marriage or anybody to be forced into marriage. But because of culture, I used to be told that this is what our parents used to do. A woman doesn't have a voice. Your father has to find a husband for you, whether you like it or not. And when this happened, I insisted. I said, no, I don't want this man. I don't want to get married now. I want to go to school. But still, they were thinking that, oh, she's a child. At some point, she will accept it. And this went on up to almost 1 year. And then I used to hear people saying, oh, Amir has a husband. And I've always been in denial that I'm married. Even though, obviously, the marriage is there. But I always say to myself, no, this can't be possible. And parents couldn't say anything. My mom couldn't intervene or anything like that because a woman doesn't have a voice in our culture. You see, so growing up in that situation was really difficult because I didn't have anyone to support me. People were scared to help me out, but I was just going to school, coming and going, and then one day, then coach ballet. One night, 3 o'clock in the morning, they just told me, let's go, let's go, we're going to take you somewhere. Without even having a knowledge where I was going, because at the time, I didn't expect I was gonna, be taken to the husband because I was in grade 9 at the time, ready to sit my exams, and then how I overcome it, just to cut this story short, I ran away. For a couple of days, family didn't know where I was. And then I took a step to go to the police station. And then that's how I was able to access education department, but they didn't want to take it as a serious case. Instead, what they did is they contacted my school, and the deputy head teacher, who was a lady, came to my house, or our family house, to have a conversation with the family, just to educate them that this girl is very young and she's very bright. She wants to go to school. Maybe this is your culture, but in Islam, you are not supposed to force somebody into something that she doesn't want, especially when it comes to marriage. You see, so they sounded like, okay, we understood. It's all fine. We'll leave her to go to school. And then as soon as they left home, they had to beat me up because they said I made the family sad. I put shame on the family. My parents were crying, because I did take a step that obviously nobody has ever done this in the entire family. So they have to beat me up. Otherwise, maybe there could be a negative impact in my life. At some point. So I accepted it. I thought, okay, that's it. Now it's all done and dusted. Now I will be going back to school. And then all of a sudden they took all our bags, books. They said no more school for you guys because of what I did. They said because of education, that sort of got me into taking this step to put the family in shame.
No.
You see, and it was really tough, but I had to fight and fight and fight, because I contacted education department and they came home and said, you know what, if you're not going to support this child to go to school, we will sponsor her up to university level. And this is how we went back to school, but it wasn't easy.
Yes.
It wasn't easy. Up to today, some of my family see me as a rebel in the family. They start to stigmatize you. It's really difficult. But as a human being, if you have an aspiration, you work so hard. You work hard towards it, especially when you have that little opportunity. You don't want to miss it.
Yes.
Regardless of whatever happens, after going through all that experience, you will work hard. You will have that strength and power. To carry on until you get to where you want to be. And I am very blessed that I came in a country where we are given opportunity for women to go to school, I say that I am quite blessed because it wasn't easy for being brought up in a community where women's education is not valued, or maybe women are not empowered enough to access education. Is really difficult.
Yes.
Some children are blessed to have educated parents where they sponsor them, they give them that extra support, that tuition support. For me, I've never had that support.
Yes.
But trust me, Fatou Badjie can tell you a bit about me. I work really hard to be the person I want to be today. So I just want to say that anyone who is going through difficulties to access education now, there is a lot of organizations out there who are supporting. Look at you yourself, Annetta, the amazing job that you are doing, empowering young people to access education.
Yeah, we thank Ami for that contribution. It's just showing how, women are breaking barriers, are going through so much, challenges to actually show that they want to be in education and be in school. But the good thing about it is now that we have women like yourselves that have broken that barrier, I have to say, maybe I was the few that were fortunate enough that I didn't have to fight for anything. I was just given education. Fatou Baldeh, if you can just highlight on that, those benefits and those, advantages of keeping girls in school and educating them. If we can just have one from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amibella, for joining us and for sharing. Ami is also another woman that I really look up to. She's an amazing women's activist. But this just reminded me, possibly something that we didn't anticipate. But just before I move on to my comment, I wanted to say that if our conversation has triggered anyone, like psychologically, if you've been affected by our conversation today, or you've been reminded of an experience that you've been through and you would like to speak to someone further, I am a trained therapist, kind of psychology background, and I think Fatou has the same background. You can reach out to us. We may not be having the solution, but we may be able to lend you an ear and speak to you and support you emotionally. Just in case anybody is listening out there who our conversation might have affected emotionally. When a woman is economically independent, she is in a better position to make decisions around issues that affect her. For instance, when she's Fatou Badjie has mentioned this on several times, when she's in an abusive relationship, she's in a better position to negotiate and escape that abuse. Also, when women are educated, national growth rates rise. We see in countries that it is evident. Countries that invest in women, you see how their development is. Yes. Child marriage rates would decline significantly, because when girls are left in school, the chances of them being removed out of school and going forced into marriage reduces dramatically. Child mortality maternal mortality decrease. I'll stop there. I know time is not on our side.
Yes. To end with Musu, can you just give us that one thing that you would like to leave us with? What are the benefits of, this, not having this myths in society, and just taking it further and educating girls, keeping them in school, empowering them is the only way forward, I believe. What's your take?
What the caller, Bella, had said resonates with me a lot. In this country, there is a lot of system failures. I have been a child rights advocate since I was 9 years old, yet I was married at age 14. For the same things that I was fighting against, I became a victim of that, partly because the systems failed me. If implementation of laws were being done, policies, a lot of child marriages would not have happened. If the state was taking this issue seriously, we would have prevented a lot of marriages. At the time that I was married, yes, there wasn't any clear law that prohibited child marriages, but then there are provisions of the Children's Act that could be read to have prohibited child marriages. I saw my friends, my best friends, whom I lived in the same neighborhood with, who come from an ethnic group where child marriage is very prevalent. And they ran away and went to the children's shelter in Bakote. And then whoever was in charge allowed them to go back home again. And then they were shipped off abroad to be married. That for me discouraged me, because those were the systems that were put in place to protect girls. Those were the systems that were put in place to ensure that girls live a meaningful life, to reach their fullest of potentials. Yet those were the same systems that failed us. And up to today, when I think about that, a lot of times people will be like, but you didn't fight it. How would you possibly fight it when you know that the institutions that were responsible for protecting you failed you? Even though as a person who had been renowned in this country since I was age 9, it did not prevent that marriage from happening. It did not protect me from the hands of people. Mothers don't say much. There were instances where I didn't want to go to school because every time that you did go to school, someone would talk about how you were married. We would not enjoy our childhood. When you marry children off, you not only do you deny them access to education, but you also deny them their right to enjoy their childhood. You force them into adulthood. And this has lasting impacts on them. The trauma that it creates is something that you can't give back to a person. When you lose out on your childhood, it can't be returned to you because you've outgrown it. You will never, ever get it back. They don't even understand the implication of it, aside from education. And one of the reasons why girls don't get access to education is because of these harmful traditional practices. So for me, it's about not only using our voices as civil society. We travel far and wide in this country to talk about these issues. But it's one thing for the state to take it more, to look at it as an important issue and take up important and relevant measures to tackle it. And this would include training law enforcement officers. So when people go to them, hoping that they would protect them, they do not use their personal judgments or belief to discourage people to go back home and discuss and have a conversation because it's a family issue. It's not a family issue. It is someone's life who is at stake. It is someone's life that is at risk, and we need to take a stance. Government needs to ensure that it puts in place enforcement and implementation mechanisms that will ensure the realization of these rights that we talk about. And education is no exception. First, you need to get the work done. Yes. Because even though I can say that I was a former child bride, I don't speak for every other child bride in the sense that our experiences are different. I still had the opportunity to fight and still go to school. There are others who never had that opportunity. And I would have no rights to try to speak on behalf of those people without understanding the things that have happened. I believe that all the players need to come on board. I believe that we need to put aside our individual interests in view of trying to get recognition. People sometimes underestimate the hurting and what it takes in order for you to even talk about your story. There are parts of it that you still don't find the strength and the energy to talk about. And I feel that it's important that everybody takes their time to talk about their story. It took me at least 15 years before I could come out and speak about and that's just some of the things that I have gone through. I can't even talk about the harassment, the abuse. Those are still things that I have never been able to publicly speak about. And there are many of these girls. There are so many implications that we underestimate. Oh, but at the end of the day, she's just married. Okay, she's not the only one. But I think that it's important that we have these conversations. And I am grateful that, Annetta, you were able to provide us with a platform where we can speak in addition to our own individual platforms that exist. But like I said, in order for us to make any meaningful steps in advancing girls' education, in ensuring that their access to quality education is enhanced, we need to come together as all the relevant stakeholders, including the state, and take meaningful steps to ensure that this is not a conversation we would have in the next 1 or 2 years. These are not issues we still need to be fighting for. These are things that naturally everyone should understand, that around the world, over 700 million girls are getting married before their age 18 years. And these figures are too high, and we need to put a stop to it. For the Gambia, where girls would be married, at least 30% of girls are married before their age 18 years. This is high for a population that is just 2 million, with 52% of its population being women. These issues affect us. We have the right, all the right in this world to speak against these issues. And we need to be listened to, because these are things that would affect us, or would affect someone who is close to us, or would affect our family members. But at the end of the day, we need to give girls and women a voice. A platform has to be created, and we should be able to advance these arguments that we have to talk about, to be in decision-making processes in order to be able to put these steps forward. Because when also women are not in decision-making processes, when we don't have more women in cabinet, when we don't have more women in the National Assembly, and I believe Fatou Baldeh talked about this, then our agenda will never be advanced, because then you will not have people who would sit and speak about the issues of women, and also to generally understand that women are not homogeneous. We're not all the same. You can't just put few women there and say, oh, they are representing women. There are rural women whose realities are completely different from an urban woman. Even within the urban areas, you have women of privilege, and you have those who don't have privileges. The women of privilege cannot speak on behalf of those women whose realities they have never lived. You can be an ally, but you can't speak on their behalf. So we need to be able to have meaningful and equal representation of all types of women who exist within our context. And only then we will be able to advance. I'm sorry, sometimes I get emotional when these happen. But
I know, that's the passion we need. Yes, thank you so much.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, that's the passion we need. That is what we need. And I'm sure maybe some people might be questioning, oh, she didn't have any issues with education. How come she's championing girls' education? Well, I went to school with someone that is from a tribe where child marriage is their norm, and it happened to her. And this girl used to take fast, you know, and she was taken out of school to go and get married. I went to Gambia in 2018. I saw her, do you know where? In the market selling. I was like, how can someone who took first in class is selling in the market? She explained how, well, of course, she explained everything she's been through after that marriage, how the husband died, she's left with children, she doesn't have anything. I was like, I am going to do something. And I'm going to make sure that the only daughter you have doesn't experience what you experienced. And that's when I came back to the UK and started Sponsor a Gambian Girl. And now the daughter is in school, flourishing, doing so well. I'm so proud of her. So that is my story, why I'm championing girls' education. I may not have been through it myself, but I've seen somebody that's been through it, and I want to make a difference. That's the way. But I have to say thank you to you all, ladies, for this conversation. I so much appreciate it. Thank you so much for advancing the conversation, for putting in your own perspective and everything that you've been through. I'm saying to myself that you that have lived some of the challenges, is better it came from you than from me or anybody else that's come from a privileged position. So I thank you all so much. And if you just want to say your very final word, a short sentence, and then we go off. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Annetta. Thank you so much for organizing this. For me, just us sharing this platform, I think one thing that we have highlighted here is the ability, the potential of Gambian women. One thing that we do not lack is intelligent, able, highly qualified Gambian women to sit and make decisions around issues that affect us. Why are we still not representing ourselves? Why are we still underprivileged? I think our panel here, just the discussions we held, these meaningful conversations, shows the strength and powers in the Gambian women. Let's go and reflect on that, and let's think about what we can do more and how we can use our platforms to raise awareness of these issues. Thank you again so much for inviting
Thank you
us.
so much. Thank you. And Musu, just a sentence. Yeah, Musu's not there. Okay, so to all those watching, we are now handing over this conversation to you. We are, inviting you to join us in this, what we are doing in empowering the girl child. And we hope that you will join us, because this is not something that I alone can do, or we the women here alone cannot do. But if you join us in this movement, I'm sure we'll make bigger waves, we'll make bigger impact, because no one person can do it alone. I certainly cannot do it alone. So I'm calling on all those watching, spread the word, advance the conversation. Let's just bring it out there, why we should empower girls, why every girl should be in school and be educated, because the advantages far outweighs any of the myths that people are talking about. And we just want to break all those myths and, let them remain where they belong, and we just advance and move forward. Thank you to everyone that have been watching.
Just before you close, just again, just emphasize the fact that if our conversation has triggered any emotions for anyone, please do not hesitate to contact us. This is not the end of the conversation. If you really want to talk to us, you can get in touch. Or if any girl is watching out there right now who is in this situation, there might be girls watching who is facing child marriage, or who is facing possible dropping out of school because of certain issues. Please reach out to Annetta or any of us. Let us know how we can help you.
Yes, amazing. That's it. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and bye. Until we have another conversation. Thank you so much.